Well, hello, hello, hello. You are listening to the No Brainers Empowering Possibilities show. These are dialogues of encouragement with fresh perspectives, invitations to some ahas, a little bit of science, a dash of behavioral psychology, applicable tools that you can use right now, and a whole lot of creative fun. So if leveling up is on your radar, my friend, you are at the right show. I'm your host, Roseanne Marsh, and I'm the author of the teen and parent empowerment curriculum called Level Up. And you are listening to episode number 43, Finding Your Calm in Your Storm. It was 1995, and I traveled for a living. And I just purchased a small multi-level little house in a quiet little residential area, kind of in a little cul-de-sac. And it was so great to come off the road at the end of the week and have some home time and relax and have my own private area. I was so done with apartment living. But I love this little neighborhood. But honestly, there were times when it felt like I could hear footsteps in the backyard of my home or doorknobs that were being tried. So let's just say that I started getting a little bit uneasy living in this home where I was gone most of the week and didn't know what was going on possibly in my home or what was waiting for me when I'd get there. Now, I was dating a guy from another state, and he suggested that I get a gun and get trained on how to use that gun. So I took that seriously. I took some classes from the local police force. And then one of the things that stood out to me was he said, number one, if anyone comes in your home in the middle of the night, they are not trick-or-treating. And if they wanted to rob you, they basically would come during the day because that's when most people are working. So in the night, that's not a good sign. And you make sure that you're ready to use that gun. So that meant I had to be ready to take down someone that was going to come into my home in the middle of the night. Now, I don't know if that made me feel safer. I was kind of nervous thinking, holy cow, I may have to shoot someone. I may have to kill someone. And so I asked, well, wait a minute, can I just shoot their foot or can I just shoot their hand? And the police officer said, that's not going to stop them from getting at you. You've got to shoot for the chest or the head, or don't shoot at all. But since you don't have anyone else living here with you, you might as well have that gun just ready to go under your bed, cocked just in case you need it. Well, my bedroom was on the second level of my home, and going up to that bedroom were 10 of the squeakiest stairs that you could ever have. I mean, I couldn't figure out how to take the squeak at him, so I just kind of tolerated every time I go up and down the stairs. Now, in my bedroom, the head of my bed was positioned away opposite from the bedroom door. So I learned that if I heard something, I could roll out of bed and grab the gun, then shimmy along the floor to the bottom of my bed, and then get on my elbows and aim about midway up the doorway and be ready for whatever would come through that door. Now, countless nights I practiced rolling off the bed, grabbing the gun, crawling to the end of the bed, pointing the gun. And so I do that again, roll, grab, crawl, point, roll, grab, crawl, point. So after a while, it really became automatic because I had practiced it so many times. And I tell you, I prayed that I would never have to unload that gun on anyone. And if a single bullet never flew out of that chamber, I would be a happy camper. But in the fall of 1995, I had to fly out to Denver, Colorado at 7 o'clock in the morning. So I hit the bed early so I could get some sleep before traveling. And I don't know how many hours I had been asleep, but all of a sudden I heard something I had never wanted to hear. And that was a creak on the first step of the stairs ascending to my bedroom. My eyes flew open, and I knew that someone was coming up the stairs in the middle of the night. Now, we're going to come back to that story, but I want to stop here and I want to ask you, have you ever been in a situation where fear also hit you, or where you were in a place where there was chaos, or all of a sudden things broke loose, or a situation where you felt like you had very little control? Well, those are the storms of our life. And I think we probably can think of lots of times when maybe we were flooded with fear, or blinded by the unknown, or felt like life was just out of control. And some of the storms are going to come in and they're going to hit us fast and leave, but some, they endure for a long time. And how do we find our calm in our storms instead of becoming overcome with fear and anxiety? It feels really like everyone individually is going through some sort of a storm. Don't you agree? I mean, you could talk to almost all of your friends and they're all going through something, but then it's exacerbated and enlarged because of the micro things that are going on in the world. And it's good to be informed. But if we focus our energies on these crises that are happening and these breakdowns and let them ruminate over and over, we're giving our power away. So whenever we react to things in like that survival instinct or that survival mood, we are feeding to the unrest and the anxiety. Instead of getting out of the storms, we're actually being swept up into the storms of life. And if there's ever been a time when we need to become that eye of the hurricane, it really is now. And you know, the eye of the hurricane is that sweet spot right in the middle of the storm where it's calm and it's peaceful, while that storm is just raging all around us. But when we're able to get in the eye of that storm and remove ourselves, or at least shelter ourselves somewhat from the chaos, and when we stop and focus on some simple tools, we can literally find the calm in our individual and collective storms. Now, I want you to think of some of the people that you know that really are the eye of the storm kind of people. They're that calm in the storm. They instinctually react in goodness for themselves and others. They seem to have peaceful guidance. You know the kind of people. And what kind of storms are out there anyway? I mean, it could be the literal storms, the weather storms, the crazy things that are happening to a lot of different places. Just look at the news and you can see that Mother Nature is in upheaval in many places. I have an earthquake app and it's set for 6.5, and it seems like it goes off almost on a daily basis. But the storms can really be financial storms, health storms, mental wellness, could be stuck in a job that doesn't fulfill us, and the list could go on and on. But when we can have some simple tools to help us, we can not only weather those storms, but we can be the calm in the storm for others around us. Let me tell you the story of Michaela, age 17. She was on her way to band practice early one morning when she saw a car pull out ahead of her in traffic and then take a sharp left. Well, they hit a motorcyclist that was going 40 to 50 miles an hour. And the motorcyclist flipped over the car, traveling 20 feet in the air, and landed right in front of Michaela's car. It's all happened so fast. Michaela jumped out of her car and ran over. And she said, all I could think of is, I'm a lifeguard. I need to help. So in true Scout spirit, because Michaela actually had just gone through a life-saving course at the Boy Scouts of America troop in Grapevine, Texas. So she took control of the situation. She stopped traffic both ways. She made sure that somebody called 911. And after confirming that the call had gone through, she went over to the victim and kneeled down and said, I'm here to help. There was no response from him, so she took his vitals. She confirmed that he was breathing, so he didn't need CPR. She knew she couldn't do much, so she was waiting for the paramedics, but she stayed there with the unconscious victim. She kept his airways clear of blood. She spoke softly and calmly to him to make sure that he had care. Unfortunately, the victim died 36 hours later. But several months after this happened, she was given a Medal of Award. while other adults stood by helplessly, just horrified. Michaela, a 17-year-old, took action to try to save somebody's life. She did it without reservation, but true compassion, and a pursuit of nothing other than aiding another person. Now, when they asked her what she learned, she said, I didn't have my first aid kit with me. I left it in my band locker. And she said, from then on, I always kept it in my car. And she said, I don't know if texting was involved in that accident. She said, but I started now leaving my phone in my glove box. And she also checks for motorcycles before she turns at an intersection. She insists that what she did was something anyone else would do. But of course, I don't think that's true. She's exceptional. And she was the calm in the storm. Now, it's not every day that we participate in heroism where we get public notoriety for that. And she didn't ask for the notoriety. It was spontaneous and it was genuine. But sometimes it's just the daily walk in our own skin that allows us to have an opportunity to practice finding the eye, finding that calm, finding the control, and the ability to navigate the storm. Let me tell you about Angelique. Angelique is a single mom of 2 elementary age special needs children. To make ends meet, Angelique works during the school hours while her kids go to a functional skills contained unit in a local high school. But when she's not working, she's full-time mode managing emotions and the needs of these beautiful children. Now, I am the mom of a special needs child, and my heart goes out to this single mom because I understand the amount of hypervigilance that it takes to be able to raise children with different abilities. So the storm for Angelique was one of 24/7 with frequent calls from the school and frequent trips to specialists to help find ways that these kids could cope and thrive in the bodies and brains that quite honestly function very differently from a lot of other children. So in her domicile storm, she found that she was languishing and she had very little energy by the end of the day. Many times we as caregivers forget that we need to feel our well first so that we can care for those that are under our stewardship. So in one of the visits when Angelique went to see the psychologist that was seeing her children, she expressed her anguish in struggling to continue to caregive for these children. This wise psychologist decided to try to problem solve with her and gave her some amazing advice. Angelique had several hours a week when caregivers would come in so that she could go grocery shop. And the psychologist suggested that maybe she shake things up for a while, have her groceries delivered, and maybe she take time at the local YMCA to learn a little bit more about stillness and yoga and meditation. She was very unfamiliar with these terms, but was willing to try anything. And there she could also get trained on different exercises that she could do at home, start moving her body more so that she could get the endorphins going through her body. So reluctantly, Angelique decided she'd change up her routine and maybe try something different because she knew she needed a different outcome. So with her new exposure to the ability to find stillness, Angelique started a daily practice in the morning, preparing herself to be able to execute her life's responsibilities with more calmness and capacity. Finding time to move and exercise her body brought more endorphins, more excitement, and more joy. Now, her storm did not cease. Her storm did not go away, but her ability to handle her storm changed. She found her calm in her storm. And you might be in a storm right now or have been. And I believe that we're going to go through more storms and worldwide storms. And having some skills and abilities to be able to control our thoughts, our feelings, our actions, our emotions, and find that calm, that sweet spot is going to be imperative. So there's 5 areas that I came up with that I believe can help us find the eye of the hurricane. These are shun words, not shun like S-H-U-N. These are T-I-O-N words, shun. They're descriptive nouns of 5 different storm skills. So here's the first one. That first one is connection. connection. I honestly wish that I had known about stillness years ago. And stillness is that practice of getting into space of quiet where you concentrate on your breath. Whenever we're in a storm, to help us find calm, we have to create the calm. And there's no better way to change panic and stress, anxiety, than to change your breath pattern. We have several episodes where we address breath work. And one is my very favorite that was taught by my friend Michelle Glightly. It's the 911 breath. And that's where you breathe like a soothing child. So the breath work goes like this. You sniff into and then exhale out of your mouth. So it's, now there's other breaths that you could do. In for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4. Anything that we can do to change the panic breathing of our body or the cortisol flow through our body is going to help us go into a place of calm. Another way to really change the way we think immediately is go to a place of gratitude. Now, sometimes you might think, okay, I'm in a storm. What am I grateful for here? But sometimes we have to think beyond the storm and go to a place of remembrance. Yeah, there's always something in our life that we can remember that we were incredibly grateful for. When we go back to that place and remember it, most important thing is that you feel it with your heart, not just think it with your head, feel it with your heart. And when you do that, your chemistry in your body, the hormones that are going through your body change. It reacts to the emotions that it's feeling in your heart. And you start to dissipate the cortisol and bring in the feel-good hormones. So in that connection, not only is it breathing, but it's going into gratitude. And another one is grounding. If you're unfamiliar with grounding, just look it up. But it's going barefoot on grass, putting your feet on the grass. We are magnetic, chemical, electrical beings, and we share energy with the earth. And when we place our feet there, we exchange a magnetic field. Not able to get your bare foot on there, you can even imagine your feet in their shoes, wherever you are, growing roots down into Mother Earth and take them down, 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 and down to be grounded. When we're grounded, we're not up here in our head. We're more rooted and more stable. So in the connection, we talked about breath work, gratitude, and grounding. The second area is direction. We can get direction from other people, but we can also get direction from source, whatever source is for you. Source might be your higher self. It could be the universe. It could be God. But I think it's important when we believe and commune with something that is greater than us. We have the capacity to get revelation and guidance and creativity for things that we didn't understand we could have. And the universe never gives us more than we're capable of having. We're the ones that put the limit on what we're capable of going through. And the universe may not calm the storm, but it can calm the sailor. So who and what do you connect with when you need direction? So connection and direction. The third is inspiration. Not only do we need a source, but it's good to have mentors or people that we see, current, past, that we've learned from. Even movies can teach us lessons. One of my favorite is Jacob the Liar. That's where Robin Williams plays the part in a Jewish ghetto, and they're surrounded by Germans, and they've been told that the Germans are going to come at any given time and take them away to the concentration camps. Well, Jacob one day heard on a German radio that the Germans were being defeated and they weren't as successful as they thought they were. Well, Jacob disseminated this information to the whole ghetto, and there were so many that were getting sick and dying in despair and anxiety and stress. And then they started asking, what else did the radio say? They misinterpreted. They thought he had a radio. And he thought, look at the difference just a little bit of hope gives to people. Maybe I'm going to tell them I do have a radio. So every day he would give them a different message of hope. Now, what he said may not have been true, but what it did, it brought new life to this ghetto. In fact, the doctor said, Jacob, ever since you found that radio, there are less people getting sick and there are less people dying. He was creating a calm in that storm. Such an inspiring movie. I would suggest you watch it. They said that when Vietnamese refugees were coming across the ocean in boats and they were going against tempests and storms and pirates, if there was even just one person in that boat that would stay calm, the whole boat would stay calm. But if nobody was calm, it was complete panic and disorder. But it just took that one to be the nucleus, to be the eye that set the stage for everyone staying calm. So just having that one person that can be calm can have a huge effect on everyone around them. So we have connection, direction, and inspiration. The fourth one is preparation. Preparation. Sometimes we have to play the what if game. What if this happened? What if that happened? What would we do? What would we not do? And didn't we do that when we were little in the elementary school? Didn't we have fire drills all the time? And in my area, we had earthquake drills and we'd all hide under our desk. And now think about the police officers. They're always being trained for the what if. They're rehearsing and making contingency plans. And when we have contingency plans, it's easier to stay calm. Now, I started out telling you the story of me living in a home, being trained with a gun so I could protect myself as a single woman. And one night, actually 3 a.m. in the morning, all of a sudden I heard that creak on the stairs and knew that someone had entered my home and was on their way up to my bedroom. Well, I can tell you when that happened, my eyes flew open and my body went into roll, grab, crawl, and point. I was positioned like a well-trained bird dog with that gun in the ready position, ready to take down whoever came through that door. I didn't even have time to think about whether or not I was going to kill them. I was just ready and pointed and going to protect myself. And as I listened to one squeaky stair after another, knowing that person was almost to the top of the stairs, I heard a voice say, Zanny, it's Ted. I know you have a gun pointed at the door. Do not shoot me. Do not shoot me. It was my boyfriend from out of state. He'd come in at 3 o'clock in the morning, thought it would be funny to surprise me, found the key outside, and was walking up the squeaky stairs to my bedroom door in the middle of the night. Now, can I just say he had to literally come into the room and take the gun out of my hand. I was gripping it so tight. I couldn't even talk to him because there was so much adrenaline going through my body. I've never felt anything that intense. The great news, I didn't have to take anyone down, and all my practicing had prepared me for that what if scenario. So now think about your life. What are some of those things that you want to be prepared for? Do you live in a place that has natural disasters? Would your family benefit from practicing some maneuvers? Do you live by a lake or a pool or someplace where people may need life-saving resuscitation? Do you have someone in your family or association that has mental problems where they may need to be calmed down? There's so many different scenarios. And what is your what if and what is your contingency plan? Now, we can't prepare for everything, and that's why we go back to step one. And that's when we have connection to our body and can go into stillness and direction so we can get that valuable information. We can pretty much go through anything. But this last one, this fifth one, is reflection or evaluation. It's what did we learn from what we've experienced? What would we do differently? What would we continue doing? How could I be even a greater calm in the storm? Now, life's experiences teach us a ton, but we can't experience everything to learn it. We just have to be prepared by being able to control our thoughts and our emotions and our feelings and our actions. And that's when we go into step one of the connection with our body in the breath work, in the grounding and the gratitude, and finding direction from either other people or especially the source. Being able to get revelation, inspiration, direction the next right step is invaluable. Then inspiration from other people that inspire us. I believe it was Louisa May Alcott that said, I'm not afraid of storms because I'm learning how to sail my boat. Preparation, contingency plans, plans for the what if, trying and preparing, and then evaluating what I have done and what went right and what are my opportunities. So I invite you this week, think about how can you become more of a calm in your own personal storms? What is it that's blowing around you that if you can come into the eye of the hurricane and still yourself, even if the storm doesn't go away, how can you become stronger, wiser, and calmer so that you can be in the storm, but not of the storm? We are creators. We can create those things for ourselves. That's what's so exciting when we learn these basic tools. If you're unfamiliar with stillness, I invite you to learn that. If you're unfamiliar with meditation, there's an amazing little app that can walk you into that. And it is called Insight Timer, and it's a free app. So you can do like a 5-minute meditation just to start being able to calm our minds. These are tools that we need not only right now, today, but we're going to need even more as the days go on. I know you can create amazing things in your life. After all, that's what we do. We create. I wish for you the calm, the peace, the joy, and even happiness that comes from finding the eye of the hurricane and finding the calm in your storm. Thanks for joining me this week, and we will see you next week. Take care. Tally ho.